Good morning, everybody. How's everybody today?
Very good. Hello.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Hope everyone had an awesome weekend. For all you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day yesterday. Hope you had a beautiful day. The quarantine version of Mother's Day. One by one, we're just starting to experience holidays in a brand new way. Who knew? Let's hope we don't have too many more of those. Quarantine Thanksgiving is a bear, because I'll tell you what, you just can't eat that much turkey if you don't have more people in the house. All righty. So I did want to get started this morning. We have some fun stuff to take care of. And as you know, this is week number 8, right? And so I promised you that this week would be focused on money. So I want to get started before we dive into money. I want to get started with my friend Ellen. And I want to leave you with this before we go to Ellen. Think of while she's doing this, I want you to think of this phrase: that's no pair of scissors. Thank you so much, Ellen. I don't know, penis humor never seems to get old. It's just always funny. I don't know why. It's like the word poop. It's just always funny. All righty, so a couple of quick announcements this morning. For those of you who are struggling on the whole federal unemployment piece, there is a webinar set up for tomorrow with the Department of Labor. CTR has set that up on your behalf at 10:45. There is supposed to be some registration link that goes out today. Understand once that arrives, I will register, and at 10:45 tomorrow, I have to look at the schedule, but we'll find some way to broadcast that to you. So if for some reason you don't receive the link or can't get on, because I did hear it was a limited link. I'm not sure why they would do that. And yet we will broadcast it for you just in case you're struggling or have some questions. Of course, if you have questions specifically for Department of Labor, you probably want to be on yourself, because if you're on watching our Zoom session or our Zoom broadcast of it, questions will be harder for you to ask. I do have some good news about the federal unemployment funds, and that is that I do know that someone who went in and did that red button on Thursday has money in their account this morning. So once it's in and accepted, it seems like it's pretty fast. So that's pretty good news. I know that some of you have been struggling with it. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Okay, take 2. Yes, I promised you on Friday that we would do an example and record it for you. Unfortunately, the example that we did kind of went sideways on us, and what I realized as we were doing it is that there's a lot of really personal information that needs to get put in there, and there's no way to mask it. And so what I've decided is that I'm not going to do an example for you and tape it, because it puts somebody's social security number and mother's maiden name and all these security questions and whatnot out there for the public, because we would need to post that on YouTube. And I know we can do it unlisted and all that good stuff. It just makes me nervous to have your information out there. So so if you need help, dive in at 10:45 tomorrow, because that's your first path. And if you're still struggling, reach out and we can figure something else out. And I do see that other people are telling me that unemployment funds are arriving. So that's good news. I'm glad to hear that. Do remember that we do have an investor seminar designed for you and your database for this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It is the Investor 101 seminar that I have been doing. It is not the 201 version that I've been promising. This is the one that many of you have attended and or have had your database attend. What a perfect opportunity for people to kind of plug into a money conversation this week. And understand one of the things I'm going to talk about this Wednesday, besides all the normal stuff I talk about, is that just because we're in this kind of alternate reality right now is not a time to stop looking for great investment properties. We're not. So I encourage all of you and all your database to plug on in. I think there's a thought that maybe now is not the best time, and I would challenge that. So we'll talk more about that as well. All righty. Before we move into our main topic for this morning, Karen, where's my Karen Mulberry? There she is. Hold on, let me unmute you. There you go.
Okay, hi, how are you? Nice to see everyone this morning. I hope you all had a great Mother's Day. I did. Did lots of cooking. That's my thing these days. I just want to let you know that if you have someone who's looking to buy a $560,000 house, if they have a credit score of 680 and they want to put 10% down, the rate today is 3.25%. Can't beat that. So call us if you need us.
Wow, 3.25%. That's, yeah. Somebody needs to buy a house today.
Please.
Quick, get on the phone.
Finance it.
All righty. Thank you so much, Karen, for that update. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So guys, if you remember, the conversation that we had on Friday was that this week was going to be focused on money, and I want to be sure that we deliver on that. First and foremost, since it's week number 8, I want to give you 8 financial actions that I want you to be focused on this week. So grab your pen, something to write, because you got 8 financial actions I'm going to go through in the next 7.5 minutes. So number 1, do the income exercise that I gave you on Friday night, right? And that is to know exactly what income you have lined up for June, July, and August. That includes closings from current inventory, both buyer and seller, as well as listings and buyers that you know are coming on between now and the 1st of June that you know you can put under agreement quickly. I want you to do the math and see what that income looks like for you so that you can continue to make plans around June, July, and August. And here's what I would encourage you to do. Please don't add any additional supplemental income, which means unemployment numbers or any of that assistance stuff. But I want you to be focused on the money that you control and bring into your world, right? If unemployment shows up, treat that as a bonus. Number 2, create a plan to guarantee that that income that you just outlined in number 1 actually shows up. You need to have a strategy. With current inventory, what has to happen with each listing and each buyer to get them under agreement in the next 2 weeks? Do you control that? Yes, you absolutely do. You absolutely do, right? For those of you who are shaking your head, that's a mindset adjustment, right? If you were shaking your head this way, if you were shaking your head up and down, right, that's exactly the right answer. You do control that. You just have to have a strategy around those conversations to make sure that the sellers and the buyers take the actions necessary. And then, of course, how does the inventory that you're putting on, this is not number 3, by the way, how does the new inventory, both listing and buyer, have to hit the market to make sure it's under agreement in 30 days or less so that it closes before the end of August? You see how that strategy needs to be well thought through so that you're not just plopping inventory on the market that still is hanging around in the fall. That's not the purpose of taking a new listing, right? It's not the purpose of having a new buyer. The purpose of a new listing and a new buyer is to create action that leads to a contract that leads to a closing, right? And we need to continue to take action and create strategies and conversations that shortcut all of that to make sure that your clients and you are getting the benefit of what's happening in the next couple of weeks and months. Number 3, continue to cut expenses. Continue to cut expenses. That's both personal and business. And please do me a favor. That doesn't mean stop spending money, period. It means cut unnecessary expenses, right? Don't cut things that make you money. That would be foolish. So keep manipulating your income and your expenses to make sure that you're spending smart and make sure you're getting a return on every dollar that you spend. However, don't cut things that actually make you money, but continue to monitor the cutting of expenses. Number 4, if you haven't already, Open a business checking and a business savings account. Right? Many of you got caught with PPP applications not being accepted or not being accepted by your bank because you didn't have separate business accounts. That's not necessarily the reason to do that, and yet it was certainly a decent one from this past 2 weeks, right? There's a whole lot of other reasons to have to separate your money. We don't have time for this morning. But if you haven't done that yet, just do it this week. Email your banker and say, look, I need to have two accounts set up. Right? And if they say to you, okay, great, well, there's certain minimums, I want you to say, okay, well, so if there's certain minimums that I have to keep in each of those bank accounts and you don't have those minimums, if that's part of the reason you're not opening those accounts, tell them you don't want to pay those fees. And if they say, sorry, that's the way it goes, well, then go to a different bank. Right? Find banks that don't charge you fees. Fees are not necessary for anybody. You just have to keep pushing and keep asking different questions. Number 5, create a strategy to save for an emergency fund. Create a strategy to save for an emergency fund. An emergency fund is first $1,000 that then grows to 3 to 6 months of expenses. I want you to have one of those on the personal side and one of those on the business side. If you got unemployment money that you weren't expecting, if you got an EIDL grant that you weren't expecting and you don't have an emergency fund, well, there's your first $1,000 to set aside. Right? If there's anything that we need to learn from what happened in the last 8 weeks, is that if you are not prepared financially for something like this to happen, if something skids sideways on you and you're not prepared, it's a bear. Right? If you had 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, the last 8 weeks would have been far less stressful for you than for someone who doesn't have that, right? So make that a priority. You need to start with $1,000 personal, $1,000 business, and then grow those from there, 3 to 6 months of expenses. What does that look like? What's the strategy you're going to put in place to make sure those things show up in your world? Number 6, develop a strategy to pay your taxes on time, every time. Remember, if you're not paying your taxes on time, every time, you are living above your means. You can't afford to be living the way you're living if you're not paying your taxes on time, because you're spending somebody else's money to live. That make sense? So develop a strategy around that. It might mean you have to make more money. Or it might mean you have to spend less money. Or it might mean both of those things, right? Number 7, read more about money. If you've not read these books, Wealth Can't Wait and Profit First, and maybe like the Cash Flow Quadrant or the first third of the MREI, you need to get really on purpose and start reading about money. You need to be filling your head with strategies and ideas and plans to better manage and manifest money in your life. If you're looking for an audible version of a money conversation, tune in 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. That investor seminar is an audible version of a money conversation, right, that you can start filling your head with. P.S. For those of you who have been plugging along, I am putting on the calendar the finish up of the Wealth Can't Wait Financial Masterminds, and we're starting Profit First. So where's Chris DiBiase? Oh, there he is. He's cartwheeling up and down his street because he loves that Profit First, right? And so recognize that you have an opportunity to dive into both of these books. We will, by the beginning of next week, have finished this one and started this one. So grab those and get reading. Number 8, calculate your net worth and then build a goal and a strategy around increasing your net worth by the end of the year. It's not just about income. It's about net worth. And I want you to always be focused on not just thinking about earning a living and creating income, but what that income can do when you push forward and look more at net worth and how your assets and your liabilities balance and play off of each other to create that number. That's the number I want you to really stay focused on. Having a higher income and reducing expenses just contribute to the conversation of your net worth. So if you're going to have a goal and a strategy to increase something, have a goal and a strategy to increase your net worth. It'll filter down and touch everything else that we just talked about. If you only have a goal and a strategy to increase listings and sales, to increase income, that may well, for many of you, not ever have a touch your net worth. But if we start at net worth and work backwards, now you're touching it all. Make sense? All right, want a bonus one? I have a bonus one for you. Have more positive conversations and affirmations around money. Some of you don't talk about money enough, and some of you are too afraid to talk about money. You've got to push past that. You've got to start having conversations, right? People are home. Your colleagues are home. Look around. Let's just call somebody and say, hey, Fiona, can we have a conversation around money? Because I feel like I need to have a conversation around money. So let's just start having a conversation around money. And be open and honest about how you feel about money. What's working in your world? And Fiona will tell me about what's working in her world. Right? And you just start sharing that information instead of being closed off about, I have or what I don't have, and oh, who cares, right? Some people have more than others. That's just the way it is. It doesn't matter. The conversations are all the same, right? Regardless of what it is you have. So remember this, as we move to Marty Miller this morning, you can't just be good at managing the money. You have to be good at making it so that you have something to manage. Right? We're going to spend a whole lot of time this week diving into all of that. Thanks for letting me grab your attention this morning with some money. Adonis, what do we have with Mr. Marty Miller today?
Good job this morning, Rick. Today, we're going to talk about automated communication plans, AKA smart plans. Marty's going to introduce us to smart plans and show them how they can benefit our business.
Good evening, Kelly Williams, and welcome back to the KW Command 66-Day Challenge 3.0. Today is day 31, and we are going to launch our series on smart plans today.
Get the notebook,
so to get into smart plans, you're going to come down to the fourth icon. It looks like this little diploma, if you will, and we're going to click on that icon, and that's going to take us into the smart plan submenu or applet. If your screen doesn't look exactly like mine, that's okay. Don't worry. We'll get into this, and pretty soon you will have opportunities to have people plans in your My Smart Plan. So to start off right now, you have two tabs at the top. You have My Smart Plans and you have Library. If you've never used Smart Plans before, these will all be blank. You won't have anything here. Right now, there are no referral, opportunity, or listing plans quite created, and yet it's exciting to know that we're going to have those in the future. And yet KWRI has developed a series of people plans, and right now, all of those are stored in the library. So when we click on the library tab, you're going to see all of these cards, and each one of these cards represents a smart plan. You can see the name of the smart plan. You can see a brief overview of the smart plan. You can then see how many steps are in that smart plan and how many days it will last. And then you can also see how many touches are involved. Below that, you're going to see who has created the smart plan or what the source of the smart plan was. Right now, these are all KWRI smart plans. However, in the future, agents will be able to create their own smart plans and then actually list them in the library. As I understand, that's what's kind of slated, and that may change, and yet that's what's slated for right now. And then agents would be able to possibly either charge for those, ask for a donation, or give them away for free. At the very bottom there, and again, that's tentative, that's not 100%, but that's what's planned. In addition, we have the ability to add a smart plan. So when you click on that, it's going to add this smart plan to your My Smart Plans. So you can see in the My Smart Plan tab, I already have monthly neighborhood nurture here. I do not have the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture. So if I wanted to add that to my library, I would simply click on Add Smart Plan. And it would basically add this. You can see here's the plan name. I can select the category. And right now there are no trigger events, but that's exciting because that's something that's coming down the pike as well. So I'm just going to click on apply for right now. It says you already have a smart plan with this name. Please change the name of your smart plan. Well, I guess I missed that. I guess it is already in my library. Oh, yep, sure enough, here it is, my biweekly neighborhood nurture. So it is down there. So essentially, if you wanted to move any of these plans to your neighborhood, you would just click on Add Smart Plan, and it would add that to your My Smart Plan library. One of the first things that I recommend you do is come into the library, and before you even start adding smart plans to your My Smart Plan tab, I would recommend you go through the Smart Plan Kelly Guide one more time. You probably did a very similar Kelly Guide during the settings process, and yet it's just a great way to make sure, because several of these smart plans are going to send people to branded landing pages or sites that you have or will be created on your behalf. And it's important to make sure that you have those already set up. So you can see at the very first tab here, it's your marketing profile, and you can go through and make sure that your branded header is correct. You can click on About, and you'll see all of the information on the About tab, making sure that all of that is correct. While I'm in here, I'm actually going to change office phone number since I am now officing out of my house. Then I'm going to change that back to my cell phone number. And then I can come down and click on Next. It's going to take us into the third tab, which is social media. So you can go through and fill out your Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and then grab your KW app link as well. And then the fourth tab is going to be the legal footer. So you can go in and put in all of that legal footer information depending on your brokerage and what's required in your state or area. Next, when I click on the next button, it's going to take us into configure accounts. Right now, the emails that are going out from KW Command are being sent from the no reply email. However, if someone does reply, you do want to make sure that it comes back to you. That is a very hot topic, and one of the most important priorities right now is to get that email provider switched over, or at least the no reply taken away. So hopefully sometime soon we'll have that. No date has been determined for that. And yet, if someone actually does reply to one of these emails, you do want to make sure it comes back to you. So make sure to configure the email here. In addition, several of the smart plans include automated texts. We use the Twilio system for that. So make sure that you configure your Twilio or start your Twilio account here. If you don't, and there's an automated text task included in the smart plan, instead of sending the text, it'll just establish a task for you to actually text the client. Next, when you click on continue, you'll get into all of the smart plans that are available, and you can start adding contacts to these smart plans from here if you want to. I usually find it's a little bit easier to add the contacts from my actual contact cards. And then next I can click on summary, and you can see all of the smart plans that have been enabled. If I click on continue, it's going to take me into what's next, and I can see the different options there. So once I close out of the smart plan, I'm taken back into my KW Command account. And that way I've made sure that any smart plans that I do decide at this point to start including in my My Smart Plan tab, if they are sending out and have been assigned to contacts, that I have them set up and ready, and all of my marketing materials are, basically created accordingly. So that's today's video, just a real kind of introductory video to my two smart plans, your My Smart Plan and library tabs, your Kelly Guide to set up all of your marketing. We'll start diving in further into smart plans tomorrow and kind of spend a couple of days working through all of those, including a new option that's very cool and very exciting that the labs team came out with, I think just this week. So that'll be a teaser for tomorrow, the next day, and you can look forward to seeing that here very, very soon. As always, guys, I hope you're having a fantastic day, getting ready for the holidays. I know I got some wrapping to do here later on, so hope everyone's having a fantastic Hanukkah. Looking forward to a great Christmas and celebrating all of the holidays that come with this time of year.
Thank you, Marty. My Hanukkah was great personally. Tomorrow, we're going to learn about adding contacts to smart plans and also the stagger method. So make sure you tune into that, and have a good day today. It's Monday, right? Bye-bye.